Hi everyone, welcome to our 5-ish minute yoga chair practice. Our first step is to find a stable chair. So finding a place to not only sit in a stable chair, but finding stability within our body as well. So perhaps play around with shifting forward and back slightly in the seat of the chair until we can find firm ground underneath both of our feet. Hands can be placed comfortably on top of our thighs or at hips or just whatever feels comfortable for the upper body and provides some support for our arms. So I invite you at this time to, if comfortable, closing your eyes or perhaps softening the gaze a bit just to start turning our focus inward. We're going to start with just a couple of rounds of breath here. So finding a place to, again, feel seated, strong, connected, and stable. And with our eyes closed or softened gaze, turning inward to our breath and just finding the first exhale we encounter. And making sure that exhale is full and deep and intentional. And then finding a big inhale, perhaps the biggest inhale we've taken yet today, filling from top to bottom, front to back, side to side in this really big kind of dynamic three-dimensional way. And then finding our next exhale and just continuing in that rhythm, finding a sense of ease and a sense of purpose in the breath. We'll use that breath as a guide throughout the remaining of our practice. So when we're ready, on the next exhale, let's go ahead and drop our chin towards our chest, feeling a sense of elongation and stretch along the back of the neck, perhaps even into the tops of the shoulders. And then on our next inhale, swinging the chin to align with one shoulder, doesn't matter which direction we go, and then just moving from one side to the next. A nice and easy rhythm with movement and partnering that movement with our breath. Noticing any sensations that might pop up as we move from one side to the next, and without really engaging in any judgment of those sensations, just taking some observation of where we notice it feels pretty fluid, pretty easy, or perhaps kind of maybe a sense of tension or stress. And then once we feel we have moved pretty equally in both directions, let's go ahead and align our chin once again with our sternum, our earlobes over our shoulders, and then ensure that we have activation in the muscles at the base of the spine and the low belly to afford lots of support for the length of our spine. Taking the hands to the tops of the thighs if we're not there already, moving into our seated cat and cow. As we find our next exhale, let's round the spine, tuck the chin, and slide the fingertips forward towards the front of the knees. Inhaling as we pull our chest forward, our sternum forward, tipping the tailbone back, and then slightly up as we elongate across both collarbones. This is seated cow. Exhaling for seated cat, ensuring we have a full, entire exhale in that position. And as we continue to move from one posture, cat to cow, we can also add some arms to this as well. So as we exhale, we'll reach the fingertips forward about at chest level as we tuck the chin. Inhaling as we sweep the arms out and then back and then slightly down to really pull some length across the front of the chest. And doing this just a few times, hands on tops of the thighs or spreading our arms like wings. Really, really nice, both stretch and strength for the front and the back line of the body. And once we feel like we've moved pretty equally in both directions, once again, taking the hands to the tops of the thighs, coming back to our foundation, that seated mountain pose, activating the low belly and the muscles at the base of the spine. Moving into our twist, we'll inhale, elongate through the crown of the head, getting heavy in the tailbone. And as we exhale, turning in one direction, it doesn't matter which one, perhaps making the range of motion small at the beginning, inhaling back to center. And as we exhale, turning in the opposite direction, originating that twist more at the center of the spine rather than at the neck. And again, we can make this a little bit more active if you'd like, inhaling at center, reaching the arms overhead. And as we exhale, an open arm twist, softening the space between the earlobes and the shoulders as we reach forward and back, or alternatively, for more support for the body and for the spine, keeping our hands on tops of our thighs. And let's do one more in both directions, really appreciating and allowing the breath to guide our movement and the speed of movement. And as we find our way back to center, let's very gently close our eyes as we bring our seated practice to a close, returning back to that rhythm of breath that we've intentionally created, finding the bottom of our exhale and taking, again, the deepest inhale we've taken yet today. And follow that with the deepest exhale we've taken yet today. Let's do that 2 more times. A big inhale, top to bottom, front to back, side to side. And a slow, steady exhale. And one more time, a big inhale. And exhaling. Thank you so much for sharing your practice.